Let's talk about the power of specificity when it comes to processing your emotions. Now, I am in the midst of a live support round of release, which is my signature program where I teach people how to process their emotions. I guide and support them and really help them decipher the message that their experience has for them. And every time I am in a live support round, this is the 11th time I have run this, there are new realizations that land, which is why I want to talk about the power of specificity today. Now, the other thing that I want to announce is that if release has been on your radar, that I'm making some exciting new changes as to how you can enter the release world. And that involves a little bit more integration support before a live round begins. So make sure you go and check out the show notes. I'll pop the link there. You can join the waitlist and you'll be the first to know how you can enter release in its new way that it is being shared. Okay, so back to the power of specificity when it comes to processing your emotions. So many people come into emotional work or will even question me around how do you actually process your emotions. I feel a lot of anger, sadness, guilt, shame, fear. These are the common ones. And I want to process this. And so they come in thinking that they actually need to process on the emotional state itself, the anger, the sadness, the guilt, the shame, the fear. Whereas I say, actually, let's make it a little bit more tangible. The reason that you have these emotions stored inside of you that may be manifesting in their undesirable ways, physically, mentally, behaviorally, energetically, or spiritually, or maybe it's holding you back in your interaction and communication with people. The reason that you have these emotions stored is because you have had experiences in your life, in your past, where these emotions wanted to rise to the surface, be expressed or processed at the time. But there's usually a couple of reasons as to why you didn't. The first one is usually not allowing yourself space or time for the emotion to arise. Maybe it wasn't actually safe to process it in that time. Maybe the person that you were around wasn't a safe person to hold that emotion for you. So you shut it down. The other reason is that you don't actually know how, especially if you have noticed that you're holding anger, shame, guilt, sadness, fear. Maybe it's just been so conditioned into you to suppress it that you actually don't know, how do I get this out of my system? So instead of processing on the emotional state itself, you actually process the emotion by processing experiences, memories, events, interactions, a comment that was thrown out there where these emotions first arose, but they weren't able to be given the space, time, or the know-how to be felt and to be expressed. So I'm finding myself a lot during live support when people ask me this question, how do I actually process this emotional state, whatever it might be, is I keep on bringing them back to just go back to experiences. Now, you may not know the exact experience, memory, or event, but usually there is a history and there are memories around interactions that you have, and you simply start processing using the release process, and you will notice these feelings rise to the surface. And this time, what you're allowing is the space and time for them to be felt, for them to be expressed, and you are creating that safe place for yourself and for these emotions. Now, when I am supporting people in release, I really do get to know people quite well. The more they share, the more I'm able to support them on a very individual level. And there will be some cases, usually after a person is very well versed with their releases, and I can see that they are feeling safe in all of these emotional experiences. There are some times where I will say, okay, now you can actually apply the release process. It's usually a variation of the basic release process to release on something like anger, sadness, guilt, fear, whatever it might be. Okay. And so there is a time and a place for you to actually process on an emotional state, but more often than not, the best place to start is to get specific around an experience, a memory, an interaction, a comment that you had thrown at you, and actually release on that experience, and then allow whatever emotions to come up to be present, to be felt, to be safe. So, this is the power of specificity when it comes to processing your emotions. And I feel like there are so many books out there that will tell us to journal, meditate, to just let the anger out without any specificity. And that can work for some people. As I said, there is a stage and a phase where I will say to someone, okay, now you're ready. But overall, I feel like that is a little bit too general to go for most people. So, what do? We focus on specific experiences, specific memories, specific interactions, specific comments, and usually this will be around a person, and that is where you apply the process. So I hope this helps you understand how you process your emotions. It's the experiences that we are processing on. And if you feel like you want some support with your emotional processing, because I will often say that when we work on this ourselves, we will only work on what we see, then that is where my signature program really comes into play. You share your history as much as you were comfortable sharing during a live support round. I sit there, I interpret it, I highlight the releases that you can work on. I direct you as to which cheat sheets, what release variations you can apply. And then when you feel ready, when you feel comfortable, you just start moving through the process, sharing your releases. And honestly, it is just magic what happens for people. So I'd love you to go and check it out. And as I mentioned, the way that I'm sharing and letting people enter the release world is now changing. It does involve a little bit more integration support before a live round. If you've got any questions, you can reach out to me, but the link is in the show notes. You can join the wait list, and we'll be opening the doors again very soon.